That's not true. Why are you saying these things to me? This is unkind. This is mean. I'm great. Hey y'all, it's Chimdi. I am back with another question from the audience. This one comes from Anna. She says, I'm currently struggling with following my life's purpose, which I believe is to help, inspire, be a light, and motivate others who are currently struggling with healing, self-love, mindset, etc. I'm finding it hard to be confident enough within myself to share my wisdom, knowledge, experiences through social media platforms because I'm not seeing the results that I want, which results in me giving up and not being consistent with my work. Then I fall into doubting myself and feeling like I'm not good enough. He briefly mentioned that when you love a video you've created and you don't get the results you want, you delete the video. And I tend to do that too, which can be so discouraging. So my question would be, how can I stay consistent and confident with my work even when I don't see the results I want? So the first thing I want to bring up is the lovely Danelle, who shared in a recent Patreon call. She has these A Course in Miracles cards, and she showed one that said, everything that I'm teaching others, I'm really teaching myself. And so to hear you reflect on your purpose being to be this light, to support other people, to help heal around self-love, what I hear when you tell me that is that those are the exact things that you need to work on. So you recognize, and that's why you're struggling, that actually when it comes up to loving yourself, loving what you create, being able to stand in it firmly and confidently and say, this is who I am, this is what I want to talk about, this is what matters to me, this content is good and powerful and beautiful, you struggle because what you're doing is you're looking outside of yourself, you're looking at the audience numbers, you're looking at the view counts, you're looking at the engagement numbers, you're looking at the analytics to tell you that you are worthy versus believing in yourself, embodying it, and then showing up that way on social media. And I think for anyone who wants to help others, that actually kind of is the thing, because when this isn't a fully formed thought, I want to name it, but I do think there's something to looking outside of yourself and saying, oh, this person over there has a problem, I'm gonna go help them with that. You know, that's just very interesting when we think about how we each have our own journey and we're always learning and growing. And so instead of being focused on, here's my growth journey, here's what I have to learn, here's what I'm doing for myself, we instead go to, let me help this other person do that thing, right? And I am a creative coach, so I literally help other people in their creativity. So I'm sort of aware of that interesting balance between loving something, doing something well, inspiring people in it, and then wanting to help other people and having that be a good thing versus the way we can sometimes use that to not do our own work and to not work on ourselves. So I do think that's a very sort of fine line to walk. And my understanding is that all of our self-worth, all of our value, all of our deservingness of love, all of that good stuff, it comes from our heart. It's fully internal. The outside world just mirrors back what we know to be true for ourselves. It's this idea of when there is an image being projected onto the wall, if you want to change the image, you wouldn't go to the wall and start scratching at it. You would go to the projector and the image that's being slid in front of the light. So when we try to change the numbers, are so concerned with our audience engagement, that's us scratching at the wall versus going inside and saying, why am I so concerned about my audience numbers? Is the art not good enough on its own? Can it not speak on its own? One thing I'll say for YouTube, I don't ever delete videos. Like I'm always like, this is valuable and will be used at some point in some way. So all of the videos that I haven't shown on YouTube because I was like, oh, these numbers aren't high enough and it makes me feel bad, they're all unlisted. And actually, if you're a Patreon person, you have access to all those unlisted videos. But yeah, it's something that I've worked on as well. And that's why I wanted to name that thing about healing and helping others versus healing and helping yourself, because this is literally an Ask Chimdi framework. And what I know for myself is that I used to get very, very, very caught up in the YouTube algorithm, in my numbers, in my subscribers, in my followers, to the point where I downloaded a Google Chrome extension called Goodbye Metrics, so I wouldn't be confronted with the metrics every day because it would hurt my feelings seeing the numbers being low. And lately, as I've really niched down, and I pretty much just talk about like spirituality and development and learning and growth and all these things, I've seen my YouTube audience shrink very dramatically. So I have videos that have like 100 or a couple hundred views, where in the past I had videos that had like 1,000 views, tens of thousands of views. And I knew that that would be the trade-off. Like if I wanted to really talk about what sort of moves my spirit and what I actually care about. And I don't want to sort of just chase what I think other people will like and chase what I think the algorithm wants from me. I knew that would come with a trade-off, and I'm getting to experience that. And to be clear, I sometimes have moments where I'm like, okay, I'm going to get back into playing the YouTube game. I'm going to start researching keywords and making all my titles, search terms, because it's really just a search engine, like all these things, because there is a sort of fun in playing the game of anything, right? There's a fun in like, okay, can I figure out how to be good, successful on YouTube to the point where I have 1 million subscribers and have all these sponsorships and I'm doing all these things. And my understanding, I just read this book called Busting Loose from the Money Game. And it talks about these games that the rules, they don't make any sense and you can never actually win them. And I know from experience that I tried to play the YouTube game where I had, all the subscribers and I had all the views. And what I found is that it really is this treadmill and you're always just running to catch up because there is no end. You decide what winning looks like for you. So that would be my invitation, would be to think about redefining what success and winning looks like so that it's within your sphere of control. Because whenever you make it something outside of yourself, you're always going to be like at the okay, if it is successful, then I'll be happy. And it's such a as you know, unpleasant and unfun place to be. So for me, I decided, am I showing up authentically? That's sort of my number one measure is am I showing up in my true self? Now, sometimes I do believe my true self is one of joy and peace and love and all these things. And I believe I contain multitudes. So sometimes my true self is petty or angry or, traumatized, whatever else, right? So I give myself grace within that. But in that moment, do I feel like I'm being true to myself? That's one of my main markers for my own success. Do I feel like what I'm sharing in the world is rooted and based in kindness and love? Do I feel like by this being put out in the world is better for it? And I've been feeling into that balance of not wanting to hurt anyone's feelings while still embodying love and light and being honest. And I'm still figuring it out. So for instance, I made a recent video talking about poverty and money. And my first title, it was kind of clickbaity and it didn't feel good, but I was like, oh, but the algorithm, the clickbait, whatever. And then after a while I was like, it doesn't feel good. And so I went and I changed the title to make it something that was more aligned with me. So I give myself grace to constantly course correct when it comes to doing that, but that's also one of the measures that I use. So I think creating your own rules for yourself in terms of success is a key thing, but I think sort of the underlying thing, there's always an underlying thing with all of these questions, and I think for this question, the underlying thing, if it's a matter of confidence, comes from you had a series of life experiences, you had a series of relationship dynamics. Life taught you in some way that who you are isn't good enough, and that you only know your goodness and you only know your worth if this person outside of you, the situation, the circumstance outside of you says explicitly, you are worthy, you are loved, you are good enough, and only then you learned, could you feel okay, could you feel like you're worthy of love. So all of your experiences now are being built upon this foundation of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, and I'll only know that's not true if someone outside of me tells me. And so if you want that to change, it's not going to be about anything with social media or your content or your analytics or your numbers. It's going to go to the root of why do you believe that? What happened in your life that made you believe that? And can you feel the feelings that you felt then of that's not true? Why are you saying these things to me? This is unkind. This is mean. I'm great. We as children of God, as spiritual beings of beings of pure light and love, we know we're great. We know we're beautiful. We know we're joy. And so when people come at us saying wild shit, we're like, that's not true, And so from a very young age, if we keep getting told stuff that we know isn't true and we know hurts our feelings, it's still going to be in us if if we find that in our adult life it's stopping us and it's blocking us from being great. So my understanding is that the way to truly allow this stuff to automatically dissolve is to let yourself feel those feelings that are still trapped. So you haven't actually felt them yet, that's why they're still in your body. So when you feel resourced, when you have capacity, you will create some space, do a little meditation, those feelings will bubble up. In my experience, it leads to a lot of crying, and it's usually not just one. It'd be nice if it was just like one good cry. It tends to be a series of cries, and then you end up bringing more energy and more light back into your life because you are remembering and returning to your natural, full, abundant, joyful self. So that's what I would offer you. I hope it supports you, Anna. I'm excited to see the way you live into your purpose and be a light, not just for others, but for yourself as well. I think the candle, it burns in our heart first and then it goes out. So I think the more attention you spend on like growing your own flame, the more the rest of us will benefit. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Patreon people, you remain the best. If you have a question for me, you can drop it down below. And if you want to chat privately, you can put some time on my Calendly. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.